Okay, good morning. It is 11:30 a.m. It is Tuesday, January 9th, and I know it's been a while since I've done a vlog, and I am here to explain what's been going on, what's happening, what I'm doing. Um I came down with the flu-like symptoms right around Christmas, and I've been sick pretty much since Christmas. Um Bob and I did celebrate Christmas. I did cook. We also did a very low key New Year's Eve at home. It was just the two of us because I was not feeling well. Um, and then Bob last week started getting sick and he's coughing and hacking and stuff like that. So he's got it now. He is at work. He went back to work yesterday. I did miss a couple of club activities. I was supposed to do the Taste of Turks, but it ended up getting canceled anyway. Tonight is supposed to be was supposed to be karaoke. John can't go. I'm not gonna go. And I'll explain why I'm not gonna go later. Also, at the end of this week on Friday is supposed to be bowling. I will not be attending that either. Um, Now, to give the reason why I'm not attending these is next Tuesday, I am scheduled to have a colonoscopy. So I have all of the medications that I need to do for Monday, the prep work. I scheduled my colonoscopy for the afternoon of Tuesday, so I have to be at the hospital at noon to have the colonoscopy done by 1. Um, And the reason I did that is because normally if you go in if I went in early Tuesday, I would have to do the whole 1 gallon on Monday. And the last time I did that, I ended up throwing up more than half of it out of my system. So I like to do half the solution the night before and half the morning of. Um, it also gives me a chance to eat, well, to have clear liquids the day of, excuse me, and I can drink a little bit up till 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Excuse me. You can tell I'm still sneezing. So that being said, I'm gonna try to get the vlogs back going this week. Depending on how I feel, they'll be back up and running like they normally do. What else is going on? Well, this weekend I grocery shopped. Mariano's had a sensational sale on lamb, so I got 24 more lamb chops, but I also bought a leg of lamb. I was supposed to make the leg of lamb Sunday, however, Bob was not feeling well, so we didn't have the leg of lamb. Yesterday, I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to freeze the leg of lamb, and we made chicken wings last night, which were really good. Tonight, I'm going to make breaded meat. For those of you that don't know what breaded meat is, it's pork tenderloin that I'm going to cut into chunks, and I'm going to pound the hell out of it. And then I'm going to dip it in a egg wash flour, egg, and breadcrumbs, and then I'm gonna deep fry it, and it's really good. It's a Bohemian dish that my grandmother made when I was a kid, when she was alive, and I learned the recipe, and it's one of Bob's favorite dishes, so I'm gonna make that tonight. Um, what else? I did contact the doctor that is doing the colonoscopy just to let him know that I've been battling the flu. And pretty much they said, give it till Thursday, see how I feel after Thursday, or on Thursday, whether or not it's a go or not. So I'm not canceling last minute. So right now I feel pretty good, so I am a go. I'm gonna see how I feel the next 2 days. and go from there. Now, for those of you wondering why I'm having a colonoscopy, and I think I've explained this in previous or past videos, I'm going to be 45 in February. Matter of fact, in a month from tomorrow, I'll be 45 years old. 3 years ago, I was having intestinal issues, and it became more apparent that something more serious was going on than just having gastro issues. And I went in for an emergency colonoscopy, and that was when the doctor found that I did have polyps, and a small portion of the area where he took one of the polyps was starting to go into a cancerous situation. So I now go every 3 years to make sure that my colon isn't developing more polyps, and that I am not having I'm not going into a cancer phase. Excuse me. So that's why I'm having it done. Everything else is pretty good. I took all of the Christmas stuff off the Jeep. I will be taking all of the stuff out of the yard. It is supposed to warm up the next couple of days, but it's also supposed to be rainy. So I'm going to see how that goes. I may not do it this week just because I don't want to risk getting sicker. But I turned everything off. All the blow-ups are off, and most of the lights now are off. So, anyway, I'm not going to close out the vlog, and I'm not going to say follow me as I go through my day, because I don't know if I am going to vlog anymore today, but I thought I'd do this quick vlog just to let you know I'm doing better. I'm staying home, I'm relaxing, I'm having my coffee, and I have done more things. So stay tuned. Okay, it's 2:30. Oh, it's almost 2:30. It's 2:20. I have the pork tenderloin rusting on the counter. I need to take it out of the bag, pound it, put it through its flour and stuff, and then it's got to sit for about a half an hour before I start frying it. Ideally, you don't want to fry cold meats, because what happens is that when it hits the oil, it'll cool the oil down really quickly. So you want to allow the meat to get about room temperature. So we're going to do that in a little bit. I'm going to start doing that probably at 2:30, because it'll take me a while to pound it down. So stay tuned. Okay, good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock, and I have started. Hold on, let me get in here. This is the breaded meat that will turn into that. So I've got the fryer on now. I'm just frying it. Takes only a few minutes to fry breaded meat, because what you do is you pound it, and see, that's getting there. It needs to be a little bit golden brown. So we'll let it go for a few more minutes. That's going to be dinner tonight. Now, with breaded meat, my grandmother did one of two things. She either made mashed potatoes with it, or she made a special spaghetti. My grandmother, I'm Italian by birth, but I was adopted into a Bohemian family. So my grandmother did not like tomato sauce, but she made her version of spaghetti with onions and tomatoes and butter, which I may do tonight because I haven't had it in a while, and it sounds like something I want tonight. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I know some of you guys will want my breaded meat recipe, and it's really easy. You get pork tenderloin, and what you do is you try to take as much fat and the tendons off the top of it. And then what you do is you cut it into chunks, about yay big. maybe a little bit longer. Most of the pork tenderloin that I use, I can get 4 decent sized chunks out of. And then when you do that, what you do is you pound them down. You pound them to about a half an inch to an inch thick, and you pound both sides. You want to make sure you pound both sides, because what it's gonna do is it's gonna look like this when you're done. Then after you've done that, what you're going to do is you're going to put a plate of flour, a plate of scrambled eggs, and this was 4 pork tenderloins. So I used a total of 8 eggs. And then plain breadcrumbs on the third plate. And what you're going to do is you're going to drudge the breaded meat through the flour, through the egg, through the breadcrumbs, and then you're going to put it on a plate. You're going to do this for all of your pieces. You're going to let your meat sit for a half an hour. Put it in the microwave, or a place where you won't forget it, but let it sit for at least a half an hour. In the meantime, what you're going to do is, if you have a deep fryer like I do, you're going to get that started, and you want the temperature to be at least 375. My grandmother back in the old days would fry with Crisco in a cast iron pot. You can do that. You just need to kind of watch when you do that, because the frying times can vary, and your oil can get much hotter if you do it on a stovetop. So if you've never done frying before, I wouldn't try to do this recipe, but it is a very quick and very good recipe. So after the half an hour and your oil has gotten hot, what you're going to do is you're going to add the breaded meat to the deep fryer, and you're going to just fry till a golden brown. And this should give you an idea of what the golden brown versus this. This is uncooked breaded meat, and this is cooked breaded meat. So you're going to get it to that consistency. Take it out. You're going to salt both sides when you brought it out of the deep fryer. You're going to allow the oil to drain, obviously. Put it on an aluminum foiled baking dish as you're pulling the breaded meat out, because you're not going to be able to fry all of the pieces at once. But what you do is, as you fry a couple at a time, you salt both. Don't pepper them, just salt them. And then you're going to turn your oven on about 250. You can go from 200 to 250. What you're going to do is, when all of the breaded meat is fried, you're going to put it in the oven for about 20-25 minutes. This just makes sure that all of the meat is fully cooked. It won't burn the meat. You can even have it in longer if you need to. And then you're going to prepare whatever dish or side dishes you want. Whether you want a vegetable, mashed potatoes, spaghetti, macaroni and cheese, it doesn't matter. In Bohemian, if you were going to order this at a Czechoslovakian restaurant, you would get yeast bread dumplings, and probably sauerkraut. But my grandmother never did that when she did breaded meat. So it's either mashed potatoes or her spaghetti, and I'm going to make her spaghetti tonight. So stay tuned. Like I said, you're going to fry a couple of pieces at a time. And the reason you do that, especially in this type of a deep fryer, let me get it in there, is you don't want to crowd the breaded meat. The most I would do is 3 pieces at one time, just because you want to make sure that that you can see the meat browning and stuff, and that you don't overcook the meat. Otherwise, what it does is it dries out. Now, if you have a bigger deep fryer or a big pot, well, then obviously you can fry more pieces of breaded meat. This made 4 times 4 made 16 slices. Obviously, there are 2 of us. Why did I make it all? Because you can actually freeze this. It freezes really nicely. And it helps if you have one of these. And that's a food saver that you can suck all the moisture and air out, and you can freeze this, and then you've got quick meals. All you have to do is let it thaw a couple of days in the refrigerator, pop it in the toaster oven, bake it for 20 minutes at 350, and you've got perfectly good breaded meat to eat. So, bon appetit. Okay, I'm back for a second. I'm frying the last of the breaded meat. I've got 2 pieces left, but one of my newer watchers, Brian Christopher, who gambles, wanted to know my tomato sauce recipe, and usually I don't give out my family secrets, and this is one that I don't have a recipe for, but I can tell you how to do it. How I do it is because I can it, and the other day, or Christmas Eve, I think I did a vlog on the tomato because he commented on it. So, I can my own sauce, and I will show you that this is my tomato sauce. But what I do when I do my sauce is I buy about 30 pounds of Roma tomatoes, and it makes a huge difference. Roma versus, you do not want to use the beefsteak. You want to use the Roma tomato. What you're going to do is you're going to get a jar of tomato paste. And if your grocery store carries the whole peeled tomatoes, and I get a 5-pound can of those, that's what you're going to start your sauce with. Now, if you don't want to cook that much, you can obviously lessen the sauce. What you're going to do is you're going to chop all of the tomatoes or you're going to dice the tomatoes. In a large skillet, you're going to saute onion, garlic, and butter. What you're going to do is you're going to add the can of tomato, the can of tomatoes, and you're going to let them cook for probably about a half an hour. To that, you're going to add your freshly diced tomatoes, and then you're going to add your seasoning, like your oregano, your basil, your parsley, and your garlic. You're going to add fresh garlic. You're also going to add pepper. I put cayenne pepper in mine. You want to do red chili or red pepper flakes, you can do. I also add Tabasco sauce to my recipe, and then it's a matter of preference. You can add a bottle of a good red wine, if you want. What I do is I let it saute, or I let it go for almost 4 to 6 hours. And that goes through its first cycle. And then at night, what I do is I let it cool, put it in the refrigerator, and then the next day it goes through a second cycle. So my sauce actually takes 2 days to make. And you can use it for a lot of things. You can use it for lasagna, spaghetti, ravioli, masticcioli, cannoli, if you want to, or not cannoli, but if you want to make the cannoli shells, pasta shells, not the dessert cannoli, you can do that. And there are a lot of things you can use the sauce for. And it will last. The jars that I canned will last up to a year. So I have sauce, especially when I make my lasagna. And I know, Brian, you're going to want my lasagna recipe, and I will do that on another video. So stay tuned. Okay. Sorry, my phone is still playing Christmas. So I'm getting the spaghetti ready, and to show you, I've got my tomatoes and onions in here. My pasta is boiling. The breaded meat is just resting in the oven. And we'll be eating I'll be eating if Bob's not quite ready. He can always help himself, but this is actually going to be done a lot sooner than I thought, and it's just this quick. Breaded meat is in the oven. The oven is still, I did turn the oven down to 200 because of the fact that it's going to go a lot longer than anticipated. So, which is fine. It the breaded meat, as long as the oven temperature is right at 200, it can stay in there. Ideally, you don't want it to go much longer than an hour, but it won't hurt it if it does. So that concludes today's vlog. I'm going to close out the vlog and say thank you for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for another fun-filled vlog.